When I pulled into my gravel driveway that afternoon, I had three choices for what might go wrong. Maybe a busted mailbox, maybe another coyote sniffing around the trash. But what I actually saw was straight out of some weird suburban fever dream. A big, shiny sign in my yard reading Property of Cedar Hollow, HOA. A woman in pearls and orthopedic sandals. Yeah, those handing out house tour flyers to a bunch of confused retirees and a locksmith who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, actively changing my front door locks right there on my porch, like this was all just another Tuesday for him. "Oh, good, you're here," chirped Shannon, lively president of the HOA, and honestly the human version of a migraine that's lasted me 6 months and counting. She flashes me that practice smile and says, "We're listing your property as the new community lodge, so we'll need the keys and a quick bio for the welcome brochure." I blinked once, just once, then calmly opened the bed of my truck, grabbed a fat folder marked Deed, plus blood, sweat, and receipts, and set it right on the hood, because let me tell you, I knew this day was coming. Let me back up a sec. Name's Tyler Brinkley. I'm not the kind of guy who asks for much. Former welder, now a bit of a woodworking hermit, and I spent 5 years building my off-grid dream cabin right here in the pines of Cedar Hollow County. Out here it's mostly deer silence and a Wi-Fi signal so weak it can barely buffer a YouTube video on how to make dovetail joints. No neighbors, no meetings, no HOA, or so I thought. But then came Timberline Estates, a whole wave of cookie-cutter homes and bored retirees who seem to think community bylaws are more important than oxygen. Their fearless leader, Shannon, the self-appointed protector of the area, who once wrote in a newsletter, "Anything within shouting distance falls under HOA protection," and she meant it. My cabin sat a good quarter-mile from their property line, tucked up on the ridge. Should have been safe, right? Well, not if you've got someone with binoculars and boundary issues running the show. It started small with notes on my door, each one printed on nauseating lavender paper, her personal signature. The first note said, "Your porch stain clashes with community pallet standards. The next unapproved structure. Please submit elevation schematics." And then my favorite, grass height exceeds 2.5-inch HOA maximum. I sent back a polite letter, well polite by my standards, explaining I'm not in your HOA, I'm on a different plot. Goodbye. That just lit the fuse. Next thing I know, Shannon files what she calls a proximity annexation claim, quoting some obscure bylaw that supposedly lets them absorb adjacent unincorporated domiciles. Her words, not mine, like she's playing a game of Risk with people's lives. She declared my cabin to be common property number 3, Lodge and Wellness Center. I found out when I saw a wine tasting flyer taped to my mailbox, picture of my living room and everything. Turns out she'd taken it through my window with a telephoto lens. The flyer promised authentic mountain ambience for just $20 a person, wine included, of course. So when I roll up one day and see a real estate agent snapping pictures of my stone fireplace and a locksmith swapping out my locks, I don't yell. I don't even sigh. Years of dealing with difficult clients in welding taught me calm precision wins. I handed the agent a cease and desist letter, had it drafted a week before just in case. Gave the locksmith a printout of the lawsuit he'd get if he kept going. And I presented Shannon with a notarized deed, a county survey, and a laminated zoning map with not subject to HOA jurisdiction highlighted in radioactive green. She smirked all smug and goes, "These documents are outdated. Our new expansion supersedes old county lines." Then she calls the sheriff right in front of me, claiming I'm a hostile non-resident refusing to vacate community property. 15 minutes later, here comes Deputy Morrison, who I've known since high school. He goes through my paperwork with the patience of a man who's been through this with Shannon before. After about 3 minutes, he looks up deadpan and says, "Ma'am, this is a cabin, not a rec center. You need to step off this man's property." She refuses, claiming she has administrative immunity as HOA president. Deputy Morrison's eyebrow shoots up so high, I thought it might escape his hat. "That's not a real thing, Mrs. Lively," he says. "Move along or I'll charge you with trespassing." Thing is, I'd already covered my bases. I'd contacted the county board zoning department and a land use attorney the moment her pastel pink warning letter hit my mailbox. I learned early documentation beats argumentation every single time. So when Shannon filed official paperwork the next week, trying to seize my place under emergency community needs, she triggered a multi-agency fraud investigation faster than she could schedule her next HOA meeting. Here's the kicker: this wasn't her first rodeo. Turns out she'd done this exact stunt 3 times before absorbing private lots through intimidation and legal bluffing. 2 folks sold for pennies just to get away, another just gave up and left a storage shed that Shannon magically turned into a community meditation space. I mean, she even kept the only key. But not everyone keeps every receipt. Not everyone's got security cameras catching her creeping around at 2 a.m. And not everyone had her on audio straight up saying she could take whatever property benefits the greater good. Yeah, that happened. Soon enough, Shannon's hit with charges: attempted land misappropriation fraud, unauthorized entry harassment. That wellness center she'd advertised. It's now evidence exhibit A through F. On hearing day, the courtroom is packed, half the HOA board there, some to support, most just hoping to see her dethroned. Shannon shows up in her best pearls and a blazer that practically shouts, "I demand to speak to your manager." Her lawyer. This nervous kid stands up and argues. "My client believes Mr. Brinkley voluntarily integrated his property by letting his cabin be visible from the HOA's Vista Trail. I swear his exact words. If you can see it, you can seize it, Your Honor. It's a matter of aesthetic domain." Judge Patricia Holbrook, stone-faced, doesn't miss a beat, takes off her glasses, cleans them, puts them back on, and goes, "Counselor, this isn't colonial Spain. We don't operate on the doctrine of discovery here." The place erupts in laughter. Even Shannon's own people can't keep straight faces. The evidence is a landslide. I had security footage of her on my property 17 separate times. The forensic accountant found she'd already spent the wellness center profits on new office furniture, including a massage chair labeled Presidential Stress Relief Equipment. She'd even printed membership cards for my non-existent lodge with her signature already on them. Her defense basically melts when I show emails of her telling another board member she planned to legally steal my cabin because it would raise property values for everyone. And those are her actual words. She wrote that down. Judge's ruling is swift and merciless: $75,000 in fines, while $50K to me, $25K to the county for wasted resources. She has to personally pay to replace my locks and hand deliver the new keys while a court officer watches. But the cherry on top, she has to publish a full-page apology in the Cedar Hollow Gazette and on the HOA website for 6 months. That same night, the HOA holds an emergency meeting. Place is packed, standing room only. Folks who've put up with Shannon's nonsense for years finally get their turn. She's removed as president, unanimous vote, including her own husband, who stands up and says, "I've been telling her for years to quit this. Maybe now she'll listen." And then, because karma really does love a show, the county commissioner shows up with a sheriff's deputy right behind. "Mrs. Lively," he reads, "due to your pattern of harassment, fraud, and abuse of power, you are hereby permanently banned from holding any board position in Cedar Hollow County. This ban is non-negotiable." When they announce it, Shannon's face goes full eggplant purple. She stands up, knocks over her chair, and shrieks, "You can't do this! I built this HOA! I am this HOA!" The commissioner just looks at her and says, "Not anymore, you're not," and hands her the official papers. She crumples them up, throws them at him, gets herself an assault charge, and another $5,000 in fines. Now, some folks might say that's overkill. Others would argue she deserved every bit of it. Me, I just walked back up my porch, new keys in hand, and watched as the sun set over my little cabin, still standing, mine still free from HOA lunacy, at least for now. But tell me this, where do you draw the line between protecting a neighborhood and trampling someone's rights? Is it justice or just another brand of power play? I'd love to hear where you land, so drop your thoughts down below, share your own HOA war stories if you got them, and let's talk about what real community actually means.